Hello from the Texas Reading Academies. This video will provide Reading Academies information specifically for educator preparation programs. The Texas Reading Academies has been provided to K-3 teachers and administrators since the 2020 to 2021 school year to meet the House Bill 3 requirement for all kindergarten through 3rd grade teachers and principals to attend a Literacy Achievement Academy. We will continue to provide the Reading Academies to all new educators during their first year of employment in a Texas public school. Beginning in fall 2024, the Texas Reading Academies will also be available for educator preparation programs. All educator prep programs will have the opportunity to opt in to providing the Texas Reading Academies for elementary teacher candidates during the 2024 to 2025 academic year. Here is our agenda for today's presentation. I'll start by providing some background information about the Texas Reading Academies, including how the STR exam and the Reading Academies support one another. I'll talk about the learner experience, including the pathways that are available for teacher candidates, the learner requirements, and learner supports that have been built into the Reading Academies. I'll explain the implementation options that are available to EPPs, along with some things to consider as you make the decision about which implementation option is best for your program. In the Planning for the Reading Academies section, I'll provide information about the authorized provider application process and the application process for cohort leaders. And before we close out, I'll tell you a little about our EPP Reading Academies working groups that are currently in progress. Updated information will be posted on the TEA Reading Practices webpage shown in this slide. And you may send your questions to the link provided here, and we will contact you with a response as soon as we can. The purpose for this presentation is to provide information about the Texas Reading Academies to help educator preparation programs make decisions about offering the Reading Academies to teacher candidates during the 2024 to 2025 school year. All educator prep programs will have the opportunity to opt in to the Reading Academies during the 2024 to 2025 academic year, beginning in September 2024. This presentation will assist EPPs with determining whether to provide the Reading Academies during the upcoming academic year, and planning for the best method to facilitate the Reading Academies within your program. It is our Reading Academies goal that teacher candidates complete the Texas Reading Academies before they are teachers of record without having to pay fees for the program. The Texas Reading Academies is a statewide professional development program that engages educators with high-quality instructional strategies rooted in the science of teaching reading, or STR. Research-based lessons and classroom applications are included in these Reading Academies modules: building literacy communities, using assessment data to inform instruction, oral language and vocabulary, phonological awareness, alphabet knowledge and print concepts, decoding, encoding, and word study, reading fluency, reading comprehension, and written composition. These modules are built to support early career teachers as they apply their learning to their instructional practices. This section will address the question of what is the Texas Reading Academies? The purpose of the Reading Academies is to guide educators to implement the science of teaching reading in their daily instructional practices. The science of teaching reading, or STR, is the body of scientific evidence-based research on what students need to become proficient readers and how to teach students to read. The Reading Academies are aligned with the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, which include the elements of STR. Teachers who apply STR research teach the TEKS using highly effective instruction that is data-informed, explicit and systematic, and differentiated to meet the needs of all learners in their classrooms. In the Biliteracy Reading Academies, the STR applies to the concept development required through intentional, explicit, and systematic instruction in the language-specific contexts of each language. Teaching for biliteracy is based on decades of research and provides the foundation for academic proficiency by supporting multilingual students in their development of all literacy processes, including thinking, listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Metalinguistic awareness in the biliteracy classroom is systematically planned and strategically presented to address the students' academic, cross-linguistic connections for the languages they are using to learn. We want to clarify some misconceptions about the science of teaching reading. The STR is not a specific curriculum or intervention, and it is not only research on phonics instruction. Instead, the STR is a body of research that provides a deep understanding of how children learn to read, what skills are involved, and which parts of the brain are responsible for reading development. Understanding this research can help teachers deliver high-quality, evidence-based instruction that supports literacy in all content areas. Why do the Reading Academies matter? Reading scores across the nation have stagnated for decades, despite clear evidence on how to teach reading effectively. In 2019, which was before the pandemic, the average score of fourth grade students in Texas on the National Assessment of Educational Progress, or NAEP exam, was 216. This was lower than the average score of 219 for students in the nation. In 2022, after the pandemic, the average score for both Texas fourth graders and the national average decreased. This was expected, as we know that the pandemic and school closures took place during this time frame. However, it is worth noting that the average score of 214 for Texas students in 2022 is the same average score that was reported for Texas students in 1998. And if we take a step back from the details of this graph and look at the broader picture of reading performance, Texas students are still reading well below the proficient level, as shown in this graph. Although standardized assessments do not provide a complete picture of student reading proficiency, these results do raise concerns that student reading achievement is not improving, and many students are not leaving fourth grade with the skills they need to be successful across subjects and content areas. TEA is committed to providing information and support for the science of teaching reading to LEAs, ESCs, and EPPs across Texas. We hope to begin an upward trajectory for reading scores in Texas over the next few years. Requirements for the Science of Teaching Reading Certification Exam and Reading Academies were established in 2019 by the 86th Texas Legislature with the passage of House Bill 3. Reading Academies and the STR certification exam are different requirements that complement each other. Teacher candidates study the STR competencies to pass the STR exam as part of their certification. Currently, they are also required to take the Reading Academies during their first year of teaching. Reading Academies is a 12-module, 60-hour training that continues the learning about the science of teaching reading as it applies to school and classroom contexts. These programs work together to provide teachers with the foundational knowledge to teach reading and writing and to effectively apply that knowledge in a classroom setting. We have received feedback from the field that indicates the desire to offer the Reading Academies before teachers enter their first year of full-time teaching, and to reduce the workload for educators during their first year in the schools. This is why the Reading Academies will now be available to educator prep programs to offer to pre-service teachers. It is important to note that the Texas Reading Academies is not a prep course for the STR exam. EPPs will still need to provide curricula and instructional support to help teachers candidates pass the STR exam. However, because the Texas Reading Academy's content describes how many of the STR competencies are carried out during classroom instruction, the Reading Academies will help teacher candidates solidify their understandings of the STR competencies. The next few slides will explain some of the common terms you will hear throughout our discussion of the Reading Academies. Please return to these slides at any time for clarity on these terms. For now, I'd like to give you a simplified explanation of these terms, and we'll start with the people who are involved with the Reading Academies. The authorized provider's role can be compared to the business office of an educational institution. They handle the administration of the Reading Academies, including technology, registration, enrollment, and course completion, the hiring of cohort leaders, and the finances associated with providing the Reading Academies. The authorized provider serves as the main point of contact for all learners and cohort leaders, as well as the point of contact for contracting institutions and TEA. Cohort leaders are similar to instructors for the course. The cohort leader is an expert in the content and provides guidance and feedback to help the learners successfully complete the modules. All cohort leaders are required to successfully complete the Reading Academy's Cohort Leader Screener and are employed by an authorized provider. I'll explain more about this later in this presentation. The learners are the participants who are taking the Reading Academies. Next, we'll look at some terms we use when we talk about the way the Reading Academies modules are provided to learners. The pathway is the type of course that the learners engage in depending on their area of teaching expertise, including the ELAR pathway, biliteracy pathway, and science of teaching reading pathways, which are available as both ELAR and biliteracy. I will explain these pathways in more detail in upcoming slides. The delivery model defines how the learners will engage with the content. The comprehensive model is the primary delivery model for the Reading Academies since July 2023. The comprehensive model is similar to a traditional in-person class where learners meet face-to-face to learn together with their instructor. Some of the other terms you will hear me using as I discuss the Reading Academies are shown here. I've included the term artifacts here because the Reading Academy's definition of an artifact may be different from other types of artifacts you are familiar with. Artifacts are module assignments that are weighted more heavily than the checks for understanding and discussion assignments that are found in all the modules. Artifacts are similar to end-of-unit assessments. There are 5 artifacts in the LAR, biliteracy, and STR pathways. And finally, the implementation structure is the formal agreement that defines the roles and responsibilities for implementing the ongoing Reading Academies. This agreement establishes who pays or collects fees, who is responsible for hiring and training new cohort leaders, and who handles any problems or unique situations when they arise. We will spend a considerable amount of time later in this presentation discussing your options for implementing the Reading Academies. Now we'll take a close look at the learner experience. These are the Reading Academy's pathways that are currently available to LEAs, including ELAR, biliteracy, and STR pathways. All pathways include the same 12 modules with a baseline of the same literacy content and application of STR instructional practices. The ELAR, biliteracy, and the STR pathways are delivered in a face-to-face, comprehensive model and have the same requirements for learners and the same 5 artifacts. The ELAR pathway contains English, language arts, and reading content aligned with the STR competencies and the application of STR practices in English language arts classrooms. The biliteracy pathway includes biliteracy content and the classroom application of STR practices with enhancements for developing metalinguistic awareness in both English and Spanish. The STR pathway is only available to participants who have passed the STR exam. It assumes the learners are knowledgeable about the STR competencies and instead focuses on the classroom application of STR practices. It is a shortened version of either the ELAR or biliteracy courses. Please note, these structures may change based on the feedback we are collecting from the EPP working groups who have teacher candidates taking the Reading Academies and are providing feedback to us on a regular basis. Each pathway is designed for specific types of learners. The ELAR pathway is a 60-hour comprehensive course designed for K-3 general education and special education teachers. It is led by an English cohort leader. The biliteracy pathway is also a 60-hour comprehensive course that is designed for bilingual, dual language, or Spanish language arts and reading teachers. It is led by a bilingual cohort leader. The STR pathway is a 42-hour comprehensive course that is only available to participants who have successfully passed the STR exam. It is a shortened version of either the ELAR or biliteracy course. Again, these pathways may change based on the feedback we are receiving from the EPP working groups. These are the assignments that all learners are required to complete during the Reading Academies modules. Learners are required to fully participate in all pre-tests and post-tests, discussions, checks for understanding, and artifacts. The pre-tests and post-tests are not graded, but are used to provide information to the learner's cohort leader to gather data on how well they have internalized the information in the module. Learners are required to participate in group discussions during the in-person training sessions. Checks for understandings are included throughout the modules to assess whether learners have learned the big ideas presented in each chapter. CFUs are submitted and automatically graded by the Canvas system, and learners will know their results immediately upon submitting the CFU. Learners are also required to complete artifacts to demonstrate their learning. As stated earlier, the artifacts are heavily weighted assignments that evaluate the participants' understanding of the content of key modules. They are similar to end-of-unit assessments. The same 5 artifacts are required in all ELAR, biliteracy, and STR pathways. 3 of the artifacts in modules 8, 9, and 10 are graded within the Canvas system, and learners receive immediate results. In addition, there are 2 human-graded artifacts in modules 6 and 10. These artifacts are graded by external graders using the same rubric that is provided to learners to help them complete these artifacts. The graders are literacy professionals who are contracted through a separate organization to provide objective and consistent grading of the artifacts. Learners are required to achieve 80% mastery on all graded assignments. Cohort leaders keep track of the learners' results so they can provide coaching to help them be successful when they retake the CFU or artifact and to achieve the 80% mastery. We have also provided on our website next to this video a modules summary document that gives you a summary of the content in each module and includes these learner requirements. The Reading Academies are delivered using a comprehensive in-person model, which is a combination of the online modules in Canvas, an in-person literacy community that is developed throughout the in-person learning sessions, and coaching support to help learners apply what they are learning in their classrooms. Some module assignments are completed in the Canvas LMS system during the learning sessions, and other hands-on activities and discussions are completed in person with fellow teacher candidates in the cohort. The in-person sessions take place at the EPP facility and are led by the Reading Academies cohort leader. Both the in-person learning sessions and the classroom observations and coaching sessions are coordinated and scheduled by the EPP through the authorized provider. It is especially important for EPPs to ensure all scheduled dates and times are well coordinated with the teacher candidates' academic schedules. We have put several support systems in place to help learners be successful. The most important support system is the cohort leader, who coaches learners throughout the modules, assignments, and in their classrooms. Cohort leaders are the Reading Academies facilitators who lead the in-person sessions using the module content and plan hands-on activities for learners to engage in discussions and deepen their understanding about the literacy concepts. In addition, learners are organized into cohorts who meet as a literacy community to discuss concepts and plan for the application of the instructional practices in their future classrooms. Another important role of the cohort leader is to nurture this literacy community, where learners feel safe to learn, practice, implement, and reflect on the instructional practices that are recommended in the Reading Academies modules. The cohort leader is instrumental to the growth and success of the learners in these literacy communities. We also provide additional resources to help the participants complete their modules and assignments. A participant notebook is provided for each module, which is designed to allow learners to capture important elements of each module during their in-person learning sessions, record their reflections on key concepts, plan for classroom application of the concepts learned, and organize materials, lessons, ideas, and reminders they may want to refer back to in the future. Module resources are provided at the end of each module. These may be lessons or supplemental guides that learners can add to their participant notebooks if they wish. Both the participant notebooks and the module resources may be printed and may only be used in their entirety and in association with the Reading Academies modules. Hands-on activities and discussions are facilitated by the cohort leader during the in-person learning sessions. All learners will receive personalized coaching from their cohort leader to help them complete their CFUs with an 80% passing score, as well as coaching for the draft artifacts they submit prior to sending their final artifacts to the graders. In addition, each learner will have the opportunity to engage in 4 coaching cycles with their cohort leader, including classroom observations and lesson delivery, followed by a coaching session aimed at assisting learners with the application of STR practices in their own classrooms. All of these resources are built into the delivery of the comprehensive model, facilitated by the cohort leader and supported and monitored by the authorized providers. Authorized providers provide ongoing training and support to their cohort leaders to ensure that all cohort leaders have a thorough understanding of the STR literacy content of each module and deliver the module content consistently and with fidelity to the Reading Academies program. Both authorized providers and cohort leaders have key roles in the successful completion of the Reading Academies. Authorized providers provide access to the Reading Academies and facilitate registration, logistical support, and technical assistance in Canvas. They hire cohort leaders and provide ongoing cohort leader support. They ensure cohort leaders have passed the mandatory hiring screener and attend the cohort leader trainings provided by TEA. Authorized providers coordinate and fund travel for the cohort leaders. They enforce timelines and artifact submission dates to keep learners on track for successful completion. Authorized providers attend mandatory webinars and training provided by TEA, and they conduct program evaluation as determined by TEA. EPP instructors who are interested in becoming cohort leaders are encouraged to note the role and responsibilities of the cohort leaders in column 2. Cohort leaders pass the mandatory cohort leader hiring screener and attend cohort leader training provided by TEA prior to serving as a cohort leader. They lead in-person sessions of Reading Academies module content and developed cohort learning communities to provide a high-quality experience for all learners. Cohort leaders support the learners as they engage with hands-on activities and group discussions to develop deep understandings of STR practices during in-person sessions. They support learners with coaching and timely feedback to ensure successful completion of module CFUs and artifacts. Cohort leaders provide in-person one-on-one coaching with each learner using Reading Academy's resources and exemplars. And finally, they provide additional support to learners as needed through office hours. Both authorized providers and cohort leaders are instrumental in ensuring the fidelity of the content delivery and all program requirements of the Reading Academies. Next, we'll look at the implementation options that are available for the Reading Academies. In this table, you see two ways EPPs may provide Reading Academies to your teaching candidates. You may either serve as an authorized provider or partner with an authorized provider. To serve as an authorized provider, you are required to complete a formal application and be approved by TEA to serve in this role. As an authorized provider, you are expected to take on the full responsibility for the administration and costs of the Reading Academies, which includes staffing cohort leaders, paying for all travel and operational expenses, and providing registration and technology support to all cohort leaders and learners. You will be responsible to enforce all timelines and artifact submission dates for learners. Finally, authorized providers may not charge more than the $3,000 fee per participant for any learners outside of their EPP. This role carries the largest amount of responsibility for the facilitation of the Reading Academies. You may also decide to partner with an authorized provider, which carries the least amount of responsibility. In this option, you enter a financial agreement with an EPP authorized provider and pay $3,000 per participant. Your program will have no other responsibilities except to recommend your teacher candidates to take the Reading Academies and support their time and effort to complete the modules successfully. The authorized provider will provide all the other services. If you choose to serve as an authorized provider, there are some advantages as shown here, and I'll give you some time to read through the advantages listed. Please note that if you serve as an authorized provider, this will allow you to provide the Reading Academies at a minimal cost or no cost to your teacher candidates. But there are also a few things to consider. This may be a substantial financial responsibility because you will be providing all the services related to the Reading Academies, including the scheduling, the space, the cohort leaders, and all the ongoing support to both cohort leaders and learners. The authorized provider must provide technology customer service to ensure the Canvas LMS is fully functioning on all types of computers, as well as helping learners with settings and features of the Canvas system. You must hire cohort leaders and provide ongoing cohort leader support. You'll notice in the Advantages section that existing EPP instructors may apply to be cohort leaders. They are required to follow the cohort leader application process that is outlined later in this presentation, including passing the cohort leader screener and participating in the annual cohort leader training. Of note, leading a cohort of 60 participants is considered to be a full-time position. Authorized providers must provide registration and logistical support for all cohort leaders and participants, including scheduling in-person sessions, makeup sessions, and coaching sessions that are coordinated with the academic schedules of both the cohort leader and the teaching candidates. Authorized providers are responsible for enforcing the program requirements and timelines that are needed to keep learners on track for their on-time and successful completion. And all authorized providers must ensure the fidelity of facilitation of Reading Academy's content and all program requirements. As I mentioned earlier, partnering with an authorized provider has the least amount of responsibility on your part because you are handing over all the responsibility to the authorized provider. You must consider, however, that you will pay $3,000 per participant to the authorized provider, and then all you have to do is to encourage your teacher candidates to take the Reading Academies and support their time and efforts to complete their modules successfully. This may include providing time during the school year for teacher candidates to attend the in-person training and coaching sessions. This chart is provided to summarize the options we've already discussed. Serving as an authorized provider is best for EPPs that can meet all the authorized provider requirements, but they need to be sure they have the capital to dedicate at least one full-time employee to provide logistical support. In addition, the authorized provider must assume all the costs and responsibilities of providing the Reading Academies. Partnering with an authorized provider is best for smaller EPPs who do not have additional instructors who can meet the cohort leader requirements. In this case, the authorized provider will provide the full support to the EPP and their teacher candidates. The EPP only needs to pay the $3,000 fee for each teacher candidate who wants to take the Reading Academies and support the learners with the additional time needed to complete the Reading Academies. Now I'll provide some information to help you plan ahead for offering the Reading Academies within your program. This opportunity is open to EPPs wishing to opt in to providing the Texas Reading Academies as an authorized provider to teacher candidates in their EPP program. An application process will begin in January for those who would like to become authorized providers. The application process includes the following: the competitive authorization application window, which runs from January 12 through February 23. This application must be submitted through Qualtrics by 5 p.m. Central Time on February 23, 2024. The application evaluation window will run from February 26 through March 22nd. All applications will be reviewed. Once qualified candidates have been identified, the TEA will be in communication with all applicants. Additional steps for qualified applicants may include a follow-up meeting and negotiations as needed, followed by execution of agreements for selected providers. And finally, selected applicants will be notified April 5th of 2024. We will provide opportunities for you to ask questions about the authorized provider application with FAQs posted before the close of the application window. EPP instructors may apply to become a cohort leader, and they will need to follow the process as outlined here. All applicants must pass the cohort leader screener, and EPP cohort leaders will be hired by an EPP authorized provider and paid directly by their employer. In addition, all cohort leaders are required to attend the annual cohort leader training, which is provided by the TEA Reading Academy staff. It is a virtual training at no cost to authorized providers or cohort leaders. This is a summary of the cohort leader screening process that is administered through the Canvas LMS system. It is a 3-step screening process, and in the first step, applicants will first complete a multiple choice screener. They must pass this step to move forward in the process, and applicants will receive their scores immediately. In the second step, applicants will complete a Canvas-graded quiz that consists of artifacts A through E, assessing basic literacy skills. An overall score of 80% or higher is required to advance to the next section. In the third step, applicants will complete 3 panel-graded artifacts, including a video lesson, a scenario-based demonstration of coaching, and a lesson analysis. All artifacts must be attempted and submitted to pass, and the candidate must receive a passing grade on at least 2 of the 3 panel-graded artifacts. Applicants may retake the parts of the screener they do not pass, with a limit of 3 attempts within 1 year. At this time, there is no cost associated with taking the screener to be a cohort leader. These are the dates that are scheduled at this time for EPP cohort leader screening windows. Please note that upon passing the cohort leader screener, all new cohort leaders are required to attend the cohort leader training and meet all the requirements of the training before they are allowed to lead a cohort. Additional screening dates will be available in the future. The Reading Academies are new to Texas Educator Prep programs, and we are excited to offer this training to teacher candidates so they can learn more about how to apply STR practices in their future classrooms. We want you to know that we already have 10 Educator Prep programs who are part of a working group to help us determine the best ways to offer the Reading Academies to all EPPs in the 2024 to 2025 school year. We've been working with 10 EPPs since August 2023 who already have some teacher candidates enrolled in the Reading Academies, and they're giving us feedback on their experiences. Representatives from these EPP Reading Academies working groups are meeting monthly to receive support and provide feedback to TEA, and they're providing recommendations for the broader rollout of the Reading Academies to all EPPs in the 2024 to 2025 school year. And you'll see here that we've provided some examples of the feedback that we've received so far. Finally, we have some closing information that we'd like to share with you. Here is a review of the upcoming dates for EPPs. The Authorized Provider application window will open on January 12th and remain open until February 23rd. Once the application window closes on February 23rd, we will conduct follow-up meetings and negotiations as needed, and we will notify approved EPP authorized providers on April 5th. In closing, we are excited to bring the Texas Reading Academies to all Educator Prep programs, and we invite you to join us in this work to transform literacy instruction in Texas and give all children the opportunity to be literate Texans. We will post this presentation on the TEA Reading Practices webpage at tea.texas.gov/reading. You may contact us at this TEA Learn Support Portal link if you have questions. Once you arrive at the support portal, please request support with Texas Reading Academies. Then complete your name and select the option for I am an Educator Preparation Program Representative to submit your question, and a member of our team will respond as soon as possible. Please give the Reading Academies team feedback for this presentation at the link that is provided here, or you may scan the QR code with your phone to access the survey. please enter the title of the presentation as EPP Reading Academies Communications Video. This concludes this presentation. Thank you for your interest in the Texas Reading Academies.